I dedicate this review to my would-be girlfriend, Marlena Peter. This car you see here is pretty awesome. The 2010 Shelby GT-500 with my favorite paint scheme, also Marlena's favorite paint scheme. So that's not just coincidence why it's red with white stripes. Interior view. Let's start off with this. We can see a couple things. Rev limit's about 6,500 RPMs. Top speed's 160 miles an hour. That's a bit low. I mean, you could realistically get this car going easily over 200 downhill, but for all practical purposes, I'd say the top speed is between 160 and 175 in the city. One thing you notice about this car, it's very rev happy. I mean, the 5.4 liter supercharged V8's got power at every RPM. And this thing really, really goes. Holy crap. This thing's like a rocket ship. I mean, you hold down the right trigger and push the pedal down. It'll take off. God, I love that exhaust note. So powerful. Holy crap. I mean, this thing, you can definitely hear every one of these 550 horses under the hood doing its work. It's such a fast car. It's great, too. It's a very hard car to drive, though, in a different way from the 71 Mustang Mach 1. This car is on the other end of the scale. This car has way too much horsepower. It does have some nice features, like brakes that are really freaking good. Yes, that was a panic stop. I was a bit afraid I would hit that truck in front of me. I mean, these brakes are awesome. They stopped this car so fast. I mean, I was going 150. I went to 0 in less than 100 feet. You know, for a car like this, it's a different sort of finesse that you need when driving it, because you don't want to waste any of that horsepower and torque you have, because believe me, you do have a lot of it. And when you're cornering, there's a very, very, very delicate balance between too much gas and too little braking. Because you don't need to brake very much with this car. It does have grip, see? But it just takes finding that ideal range. It takes a while. Every corner is different. I mean, no two corners are exactly alike. Since we're on the topic of cornering here, I'll do a brake test soon. Just gotta get some speed here. Notice how this car's suspension is set up. It rolls a little bit, but that also makes it a nice stunt car. It's not as good as a Mustang Mach 1. I'll be the first person to concede that, mainly because this thing doesn't have as good ground clearance. But it'll still go over most jumps, and it won't throw itself around when it hits ground. It'll have a nice smooth landing. It won't go flying and crashing all over the place, which is nice. It really is, because this car's very fast. It's almost a car that demands to be driven hard, pushed to the extremes. Because it's impressive. It's a very hard car to drive the limit. It is downright scary when pushed to the limit. I mean, the engine's revving really high. You know, the opportunity to crash is right up in front of your face. And the rear wheels losing traction. That's why when you're cornering, don't just flat foot it through. You will spin out and you will crash. What you should do, ease onto the gas. I mean, if you have to feather tap, do that, but I don't recommend doing that because you lose traction that way, because your wheels will just keep wanting to spin. And watch this. Boom! Nice smooth landing. Now, unfortunately, that wall was in the way, so I snagged the mirror, but you see my point. And this thing is really, really nice at jumps. It's not so nice on the dirt. The only reason why I'm gunning it here is because I had built up a lot of traction. Just like when you're on the roads and taking turns, when you're on the dirt, don't just gas it. Work up to that point. Make sure you have a lot of traction. I'm really glad I didn't gun it there. I would have hit that wall, because I would have just plowed. This car has a tendency to plow when it's in the dirt. I mean, once it finds a direction, it'll just go in that direction. If you hear the car over-revving in the dirt, you have too much throttle, and that's pretty hard to miss. As much fun as this car is to drive in a straight line, it is unrealistic to think that all your races will be purely in a straight line. You will inevitably come upon turns. So it pays to know how to drive this car in the turns, because if you drift it, you will end up wasting speed. Because you'll just be spinning your wheels and kicking your talent out without increasing speed. Now what's nice about this, should your boot have any jumps,
right down the line,
you can just clomp right on over. You shouldn't have any trouble. See? Boom. Nice control landing. It's awesome. You can thank the slightly improved ground clearance over the Camaro and noticeably softer suspension. But what's nice about the GT-500, the suspension's soft, but it doesn't get in the way when you're cornering. I've never once flipped the car when I've turned because of the body roll. It's not that bad. You notice it, but it never really gets in the way, which is nice. Now, what does get in the way if you're cornering is the wheel spin. I'm being very careful here because I know this turn gets a lot sharper toward the end. There's a big chicane turn and an S-curve coming on, so you don't want to go too fast. I mean, you can drift through here, but again, you wouldn't want to because you could take such a roundabout way of getting through turns. You want to cut it close, gradually apply the throttle, and also cut turns wherever you can with this car, if possible, because the longer you're going in a straight line, the faster you are. Ooh, wow, that was way too close. Almost snagged the mirror on that. Yikes. This car is scary to drive on the dirt at any speed. Is it unsafe? Not really. You just have to really be conscientious of this car's traction issues. Especially to get these scratches in the paint from that. Ooh, I said earlier that this car will kick your butt if you don't drive it properly. Nowhere else is this more apparent than in the tight turns. And there isn't much room for error with this car. If you want to take it properly and take them at the highest speed, there is a certain learning curve, and there's one good way to do it. Keep the grip high and don't gas it too much. The biggest problem is finding the right amount of throttle because you don't want to let your foot all the way off the gas. You shouldn't have to do that. You should be accelerating a little bit through the turns. That's why it's imperative to have a pressure-sensitive analog stick or a pressure-sensitive trigger in my case. See, because it'll go. I'm not even gassing it that hard, and this thing just takes off. And don't be afraid to open it up as the turn opens up. That's what you should be doing. You should just get to know the roads you're on. You know, as the turn decreases in radius, let off the gas a little so you can turn tighter. As the turn opens up, open up the throttle. And hold on tight because this car will go. I mean, this holds right up there with the Lambos and the Porsches at the top end. As I said before, I've got this thing going over 200 miles an hour down the road. I think it was 202 miles an hour. I was whooping and hollering. I was so happy. That was crazy. I mean, it was scary, though, because I was going so fast. Everything was just whoosh. The only reason I got that to happen is because I was already going 160 miles an hour earlier, and I was nitrosing all the way down the hill. That was crazy. I've never had that car go that fast before. It was the first time, probably the last time I'll get it going like that in a while. But I'll try it again sometime in this video. Now, what's interesting about the GT-500, it's a pretty wide car, but it's actually very tractable in very tight scenarios because its brakes are so good. Look at that. Whoosh. You stop this thing on the dime. And thank God for that. I cannot imagine doing anything in close quarters and tight turns with this car without the good brakes. Because that also means you don't have to push on the brake pedal very hard to get it to stop. See? That wasn't even quarter strength. See, again, just like with the Camaro, you want to do threshold braking. You want to brake enough so that, you know, your car will slow down, but not enough so the brakes lock up, unless you do a panic brake, and then that's just to make you slow down, so you avoid a collision. When you're cornering, you definitely don't want to lock the brakes up, because then your car will slide. You saw what happened in the Camaro video earlier. This turn's going to get really tight, so nice and easy. And it opened up, so we're going to open up the throttle just a little bit. There we go. Wow. I mean, this thing, it's so fast. I love this car. This could run with the SLRs. This could run with the Ferraris. It just comes down to beating them in the turns. If you can beat those Lambos and Ferraris in the turns, you're going to easily beat them on the straightaway because you'll be coming into the turns with more speed and coming out of the turns with more speed. That's really the crux of mastering this car, the turns. Because in a straight line, not too many cars can beat it. And not to mention, this is a big, heavy car. I mean, it's not as heavy as the Mustang Mach 1, but it has some heft to it. You can pit maneuver enemy cars easily. You can shove people out of your way, and they'll have a hard time disabling you. This thing is above average durability, more so than the Mach 1, which is nice. This is a very cool car. It's definitely a car of extremes, though, and it should really only be driven by someone who really knows what they're doing. Because at the limit, this car is frightening. It is scary. Alright, so, as you heard earlier with the Mustang Mach 1, with the Mustang Mach 1, you've got to be at least 2 steps ahead when you're driving. You know, every turn you make should be a calculated ordeal, because if you just try and turn the car at random or as a knee-jerk reaction to something, you're probably going to crash and or plow into something. But the Shelby GT-500, you can be 1 step ahead and usually get by. It's such a fast car. I mean, the engine, it revs really, really high. It loves to rev. But this car, it almost doesn't seem like it's going as fast as it is. To look at this monitor, you're going 160 and you never know what happened. It's also nice this car, it doesn't get caught into the gears. It's got a nice short throw, dual clutch, 6-speed. So you can hear it just goes boom, 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 just slams right through the gears. It's very, very, very fast. But this is a very smooth and refined car in that regard. The powertrain is just awesome. But this car still has a lot of the 71 Mustang Mach 1 in it, especially with the cornering. It's a lot better than the Mach 1 with cornering. It's much more practical. But the costs of messing up are pretty high. And this car will kick your butt pretty hard if you don't know what you're doing. You know, I'm far from a professional with this car. I'm the first person to tell you that. I suck with this car. This is not an easy car to drive well. But, oh my god, the benefits. I mean, when everything just connects like that. Whoosh! Perfect turn. Perfect near miss. Not even a scratch on the paint from that. When everything connects with this car, when everything works on it as it's intended, it is a superlative experience when driving. I mean, you can't beat it. You can't get that in a Lamborghini Countach or a Diablo VT. I mean, this is a very involved driving experience. I mean, I'm making every little adjustment. It's just incredible. It is truly an all-conquering car when everything works. When everything's going well with it, it's awesome. Not to mention, it is great for burnouts. I mean, look at that! How can you go wrong? 550 horsepower? I said earlier that this car is good at jumps. You haven't even seen any big jumps yet. Let's just see how controlled this landing is. Boom! Nice and smooth. Doesn't hop up on two wheels very often. And you can just keep right on going because, unlike other cars like the Camaro Z28 and Lambos, when this thing goes off the jump, the suspension actually is softened to absorb a bit of the impact. So your car doesn't just jar itself when it hits the pavement again. And this is good because this car does have a lot of traction issues. And that helps remedy it. Nothing's worse than spitting out after hitting a jump. But just to be safe, I'd release the gas with that as I'm in the air. And then just ease back onto it. Oh, and he makes it! Yeah, buddy, here we go. Look at how fast it accelerates downhill. Holy crap. America! Oh, and he controls it! Yeah, baby! I mean, this car gets your adrenaline pumping. It's awesome. This is a very intense, very fun, very rewarding car to drive. Anyway. I mean, this is a car that you can really, really have fun with. You can push it to its limit. Just make sure you can handle it at the limit. Because if you can't, you'll know right away. How does that mirror on that? It was a perfect landing. I blame the game physics. I said earlier that this car can go over 200 miles an hour downhill. It can. It's just hard to get it into that condition. I mean, your realistic speed for the city is between 160 to 170 miles an hour. Oh my god, look at that landing. Perfect landing. Holy crap. I mean, I haven't driven a car that's this good for stunting in a long time. I mean, it's right up there with the Mustang Mach 1. Wow, that is incredible. If there are any doubts in this car's ability to take on the exotics and win, let them be put to rest here and now. We saw what this car did earlier in this review. You understand. But to appreciate it, to really believe my claims of just how good this car is, why not watch this car rape two Audi R8 V10s? I apologize to any Audi fans who may have their egos dinged by watching a $50,000 muscle car kick the crap out of two big Audi R8 V10s. I'm just willing to go to the extremes to prove a point. Come on, Audi. Yeah, there we go. Team Shelby in the lead. Lambo. My buddy's got my back. Hopefully he'll block. Doesn't look like he's doing a good job of that, though. So probably especially by checking back a bit defensively here. Notice the weight of this car. Look at how easy it is to push your opponents out of the way. I mean, this is every bit as much of a brawler as it is a racer. And that's what makes this car so awesome. I could care less if my teammate comes in second place. The main purpose is that I'm beating 3 exotics. Either way. I'm fine with it. Oh my god, where's my Lambo buddy? He's holding me back, isn't he? I'm easy on the brakes. There we go. Look at that grip. Holy moly. Truly incredible. You know, those Audis you see behind me, they should be kicking my butt. They have better weight distribution, they are lighter, they have a bigger engine. But you know what? The Shelby can beat them. Because that's what good driving does with this car. You are able to punch above your belts. I don't know why that freaking Alpha didn't get out of my way. What an asshole. He got out of my way. I know this guy's going to want to get out of my way, though. He sees this big red Shelby coming thinking, oh no. And I'm saying, oh yes. Ha ha ha, I'm the bus. I love heavy cars. Just because the car is heavy doesn't necessarily mean that it is slow. It doesn't make it a bad car for a race. If anything, it makes it a good car for a race. You just need to know how to drive it properly. Oh yeah, here we go. Listen to that 504 V8 purr. God, that is a beautiful sound. That's an auditory orgasm. And I don't know how he could have passed me up there. Come on, Audi. Push your car to the limit. I know you won't. I'm going 180 miles an hour. I'll catch him. I'll catch him. Hey there, Audi. Oh, and the Shelby takes the lead! Suck a dick, Audi. I can take you guys any day of the week. Now that just goes to show just how powerful that Shelby is. So you saw the results of that last race event. Despite the Audi somehow overtaking me in the last stretch, I overtook him and finished in the lead, with a car that is statistically inferior to the Audi. This car is slower, this car does not stop as fast, and it is heavier. But it still beat the Audi because of superior driving tactics. Modern American muscle is unbeatable. So I thank you for watching this review, watching the Shelby own exotics. Happy driving, happy racing, safe stunting. See ya.